Good morning and welcome to Velika Britannia, or Great Britain. Today I want to talk a little bit about my feelings towards England. I kind of come here on holidays, say holidays now, to kind of visit the family and stuff like that. No other reason really. But every time I come round, I often think, what if things will be different? What if I come back and my feelings change towards this place? Because I've read on certain comments that people say, oh, well, never kind of disown one of your homes, never feel like, you won't ever go back there, never say never, there'll always be an option to go back. And even though I kind of take that into consideration, everyone is different and everyone will have different experiences. Now for me, I don't feel that way. In fact, every time I come to this country, I hate it even more. The feelings associated with this place give me that anxiety that I had before I left. Like the feelings come back to my body, almost like it's rooted deep into me. And I might not have anything to do when I'm here, such as work-related things, but I still feel that intense anxiety when I'm here. And it stresses me out to no end, and I just cannot relax here. Now my parents came over, well my grandfather came over toward the end of the World War II. And I believe he came here for a better life. Unfortunately, he passed away before I could actually really have an adult conversation with the guy to see what his life was about. I'm quite sad about that because I would have a million questions now. So why do I feel so negatively about this place? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to be here standing and slating England, because at the end of the day, I am who I am. I am who I am now because of where I was born, where I was brought up, where I lived, the traumas I've been through as a kid, the traumas I've been through as an adult, has all built me into the person I am today. And even though I dealt with a lot of suffering during my time here in England, in the end, it has forced me to do something that I may not have done if I had a good life here, which was move back to the homeland of Croatia, which I am forever grateful for, because I am now having the happiest life that I've ever had in my whole life. So yeah, as you can see now, we are walking towards my old route, towards my school. This is where I used to walk every day to my high school, which for me was hell. It was probably the worst time of my life. One of the worst times of my life, really. Because on a daily basis, I was bullied at school. Still to this day, don't necessarily know why, whether it was because I wasn't British or because I was different in some way, or maybe I potentially just wished it upon myself, trying to fit into a group that I never truly fit into. And therefore, I was bullied and pretty much made to cry every single day in school. I was so weak that, a lot of things would just trigger me to cry every day, and I obviously didn't feel very good about myself. And then, at home it wasn't necessarily easy as well, because my dad was always working, and when he came back home he was very intolerable. He needed the house to be in peace and quiet, otherwise I'd be shouting, unfortunately, but that's just the truth. So I had trauma at school, and then I obviously had trauma at home, that I wasn't able to just relax and be myself and enjoy as a child. It was more about getting home and retreating to the computer, where I would be playing video games to escape from life, pretty much. Playing games like World of Warcraft, a highly addictive video game, which, you know, I look at as a part of my life which I very much enjoyed, and I don't see it necessarily as a waste of time, just because there was really nothing else going on in my life which was, you know, creating happiness for me. And in that state, I was in a very depressive mode. Yeah, high school, I was unpopular. I was no good with the girls. Had nothing going for me. I had no self-confidence. And when we finished high school, I went to college. I was excited because I could start a new life. Pretty much, I would join a new place where no one knew me, and I could start from fresh. So, you know, why would anyone bully me? Because they don't know who I am, you know. They don't know I'm unpopular, X, Y, Z. So I went to college, did a plumbing apprenticeship. My dad was a plumber as well, and I was doing an apprenticeship with him, which in a way was a bad idea, because I wasn't, you know, even though he was trying to help me with obviously getting a job, because at that point when I left school I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I kind of just went into plumbing naturally. But I didn't have the best of relationships with my dad anyway, and working with him further destroyed my self-confidence with everything as well, because I was then too afraid to mess up on jobs and stuff like that. So I didn't have the confidence to actually do any of the work really myself, and when I struggled I would just call him and he would just do it, and I wouldn't really learn much from that. So I was very much a kid that didn't have any confidence or any kind of belief in myself, self-belief. I didn't believe I could do anything. I believed I was dumb. I was very much made to believe from my father as well that I wasn't the intellectual one and my brother was. And, you know, fair enough, my brother is extremely intelligent. But the problem is that I was intelligent too. But when you don't believe that you are, you take on that personality. You know, if you're really made to believe that you're something and you've been brainwashed to think that by people, then you instantly think that's the truth, when it couldn't be far from the truth. Instead, you should be pushing your kids to be the best versions of themselves possible, and believe that anything they can do is possible to a certain extent. I've learned that, but yeah, I was very much made to believe that I was uneducable. I was going to just be one of these people that maybe a less than mediocre job his whole life, and it's okay to be that way. And I kind of believed that to myself. I believed that I would never really achieve anything. And that was just due to my upbringing. Because of my eye issue, I've got something called nystagmus. As you've probably seen on previous videos, I never really look face on in the camera. Maybe I do. But if I put my face completely straight, my eyes will shake. You may see that from time to time. That's because of my eye condition. I can only put my head in a certain position to be able to see properly with my eyes not shaking. And not knowing that I couldn't really see properly, when I put glasses on for the first time, which was at a later age, maybe 13 or something, I could for once in my life see leaves on a tree and see textures and see details. You know, for me, before, looking at a bush or looking at a tree, I would only be able to see like blobs of colour. I would never be able to see the details. I'd never be able to see the, you know, each leaves, each intricate little flower and beautiful things like that, you know. I was never able to see that, and when I could see that, you couldn't wipe the smile off my face, you know. I couldn't realise how good people could see. And that probably contributed to my learning difficulties, where I couldn't literally see the whiteboard, the blackboard. and it would just be a blur unless I was sitting right at the front of the class. And obviously I didn't know about that, so it obviously like handicaps me from learning properly. Moving back to college, I started a new life where I basically, because of school and because of being sort of bullied for such a long time, I became a chameleon. Now, I say chameleon because I could basically learn the behaviors. I was that sort of ultra analyzing people to understand every kind of behavior, what people would be thinking, over analyzing everything, overthinking everything. I can read people's faces, their features, whatever they're thinking, because I've learnt this from being bullied for so long and having to try and fit in, to not be myself, but to be someone that would be accepted into society. And I became a chameleon to the point where I could blend into any circumstance, to any kind of group, because I realized that like how I would be accepted, how I would be cool in that certain group, or you know, how I would be understood. And I would never really be my true self. I would just be the person that the person I was speaking to wanted me to be, which obviously now I understand that was a very toxic, untruthful thing to be. But in all honesty, when I was my true self, I realized that no one wanted to be with me. So I kind of decided that's not what I wanted to be anymore, sadly enough. So anyway, when I moved to college, I was set on the fact of, you know, trying to find a girlfriend. So I changed my fashion sense quite drastically a few times with my hairstyles and everything. I started the gym as well from the age of 16. And that was for a few reasons. One, to be able to, basically be strong enough to defend myself and to be muscly enough for people to stay away from me. Number two, it was obviously to attract the opposite sex. And number three, it was a sense of relief from pain in my own head. So I was addicted. I was going all the time without a stop for 10 plus years. I was going at least 3 to 5 times, or even I would say even more, 3 to 10 times a week. I'd say, there's not 10 days in a week, but I was sometimes going twice a day. At age of 17, I managed to sort of switch up my fashion sense, understand like what people liked, what people didn't like, and I was able to get my first girlfriend, which I was over the moon with, because for me, in my sort of unself-confident stage, I was thinking, how the hell did I manage to land this girl? She was way above what I perceived that I could achieve. Just because of the various things I picked up on. Obviously in a relationship, you're more forced to be your true self. And that was obviously a positive in the end. But yeah, college was actually quite enjoyable. I enjoyed time with my college friends. And that was a good time in my life, For once I felt more free to do whatever I wanted. Because I forgot to mention as well, while I was at school, because I was hanging around the wrong people, I set fire to a table in school. No, it sounds really, really bad, but I literally sprayed deodorant. We went through a phase of spraying deodorant on tables and setting it on fire, which, once the deodorant burns off, it just kind of goes without causing any damage, but at the same time it's, dangerous, obviously, to be doing that in a classroom. But anyway, yeah, I did that. Teacher walked in. And yeah, I got caught. And I think that stopped everyone from doing it, to be fair. But yeah, I got caught, and then, the repercussions in school wasn't bad, because I kind of just cried myself way out of it. Because I was generally sorry that I did it, and I wasn't generally a bad person, but I was trying to fit in. But obviously I had to go and tell my mum and dad, otherwise they'd figure out through school. And when they did figure out, well, when my dad did figure it out, he ended up grounding me for 2 years. So I was unable to sort of spend any time with my friends. I was only able to go out on a Saturday until an 8 p.m. curfew, I believe. So I was grounded. Now, whether that was a good thing in the long run or a bad thing in the long run, probably in the long run it was probably for the best. But at that point I was very resentful because we had just moved to this area. Before we were living far away. I had no friends where I was living, and we moved here and I pretty much got grounded straight away where, you know, all my friends would be, which, you know, didn't generally treat me as a friend, I guess. So, you know, in effect, it was a net positive and it kept me out of trouble, let's just say. And I just spent that time playing video games, which is kind of sad, but it's just the way it is. So yes, from college, I finished my apprenticeship. I went to visit my family in Belgrade for 8 months. Made a lot of friends there, had the time of my life there, the best time of my life that I ever had previous to that. So I was forever grateful for that experience that I had. Absolutely loved it. And then when I came back to the UK, the holiday got cut short because my dad was planning to move to Croatia. He was planning to hand down the business to me. The business at that point was just a one-man band, nothing special. One man in a van just doing plumbing jobs and gas jobs. At that point, I was an apprentice. I still didn't know how to drive or run a business, or, you know, even be competent at doing the work. Because again, I had no self-confidence, so I didn't really believe in myself to be able to do anything. So that's when I rung up my best friend. He was working for another plumbing business. We joined forces and started running the business together. And thankfully, he joined, because I don't know if I wasn't able to drive, so I wouldn't have been able to do it without him. If he didn't jump on, it would never have been viable. So I can only be grateful for that, really. So then, yeah, we started building the business together, but I still lacked confidence. I didn't still believe in myself, so thankfully he pushed me to do the things I was uncomfortable with, even though I wasn't comfortable with doing so. But yeah, I mean, then you fast forward 13 years, and here you are. You're living in this country. You're trying to run a business. You're not earning as much as you would hope to. You're literally working 12 to 14 hours a day. You're going home. You may be going to the gym. You go home, you go eat, and you go to bed, and you replay the same thing over and over and over again. On a Saturday night, on a Friday night, you go out, you drink yourself stupid, you party, you have that 2-3 hours of enjoyment out drinking, and then the whole Sunday or Saturday, you're hungover and you're in full anxiety mode because the alcohol is just making you anxious of everything. And it's one of the parts of my life I really regret, just going out and partying so much. I enjoyed it at the time, obviously, and this is the thing I looked forward to the most every weekend. And perhaps it was just an escape mechanism, just to go out and just drink and just, I don't know. I don't know what. I really don't know what. But yeah, as most young people, we all do the same thing, I guess, to go out and meet new people, see friends, and have fun out, drink ridiculous amounts, and spend all our money that we earn all week and repeat the cycle over and over again. It's absolutely insane when you think about it. And if I actually spent that time on something that came into my life further on, which was self-improvement, but if I had spent my time on self-improvement rather than that, then I would be a lot better off in life, I think. Because what you realize is that when you're young, you think that your friends are going to be there forever. But really, what life is a train journey. And those people that are on the train are only going to stay there for a limited amount of time. Now, you think that that person may sit on the train with you till the end of the journey. And the end of the journey is obviously until you die or until they die. But people have different interests. People have different lives. People have families. People have things important things that they've got to get on with, and you've just got to realize that. And at that point when you think that maybe your pub life is going to last forever, where you all share the same interest of watching football, someday that one person will stop watching football and they won't be part of the crew anymore. Or you go to the gym with a certain amount of people and one day you drop off the gym and the people you spoke to every day have no contact with you. Or everyone you lived with in England, for instance, or in Canada, that you spent a lot of time with, you leave and you'll be leaving them too, because no one's going to get in contact with you. And that's just the truth. You move on, you switch trains, they switch trains, and you just got to get on with life. And you realize that the most important things in life is not your friends, it's actually your family, which I never realized, but it is. It's the most important thing is to create a strong family, create a strong bond, always be there for each other, and improve together, build together. And the close family that you make together with your partner and your kids, that's definitely the most important thing. You need to just focus on that and build it up. Because as I say, friends come and go. And for you to spend so much of your time with friends when, in the end, they're going to leave. I'm trying to think of the best way to put this, but it's not maybe the best investment on yourself. And I thought that friends were my best investment, but I realise now that I'm in the United Kingdom and there's only maybe a couple of people that want to see me. And that's just the fact. Before I used to be very, very emotional and sad because of these kind of facts, but it's just the way life is. And sometimes you've just got to move on. And you'll move on for the better. You'll take the jump that the normal person won't want to take or won't want to make. You'll do all the things that they would wish they would want to do. And some people would just not talk to you because of that. But you just got to realize that you do something for you. You don't do something for someone else. And if they do not agree with what you do, or they do not accept you for who you are, then they were never your friend in the first place. I don't really know where I went with this vlog, babbling on about my past life. But what I want to say right now is live for you. It may sound selfish, but do everything that you wish you could do. Do the things that you want to do. Do not listen to other people, unless it's solid advice, obviously. You can listen to a certain extent, but if they're really trying to push you away from doing something, you've got to evaluate whether it's for the right reasons or for the wrong reasons. And sometimes people will push you away because it's the wrong reasons, because they feel jealous or they feel hateful that you're doing something that you're not, that no, they're not. And they won't believe in you. You go out there, you prove them wrong. You push for whatever you want to do. You leave perhaps the country that was home before but is no longer your home, and you move to the place that you want to move to, and you bring up your family in the place that you want to bring your family up in, and you create a business, and you do whatever you want to do, because anything is possible to a certain extent, but anything is possible. You just got to put your mind to it. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to be you. Don't live your life for others. Don't try and be a chameleon. Be authentically yourself and people will respect you more. If you become fake, no one will respect you because you are not being authentic. In the end, it doesn't matter. In the end, you are doing yourself a disservice for not being honest, for being your true self, for putting your thoughts out there. You know, I put my thoughts out here on this channel. A lot of people in this country right here would perhaps maybe silently agree with what I'm saying, but it's things that they would never truthfully say in front of someone's face, because most people here are fake. They'll ask you how you are, but they don't really care how you are. They'll say shit behind your back. They'll act all nice in front of your face and then say shit behind your back. Whereas what I love about Balkan, what I love about Croatia, is if someone doesn't like you, they will make it obvious that they don't like you. Or if they like you, they'll make it obvious that they like you. Which I like, you know? Then you know, okay, this guy doesn't like me. Fine. Not everyone needs to like me. That's just the way life is. And I prefer that someone, you know, swear at me and call me an asshole rather than say, oh, yeah, I understand, I agree with what you're saying, and then tell a million people behind your back that you're a dick. But yeah, here's my little rant of the day. I do feel better for speaking about all this stuff, just getting some stuff off my chest, because I've just been sitting around in my house thinking, I'm feeling so depressed, anxious, not knowing what to do with myself here. And yes, England can be a great place for some people. I understand that people can have a very good life here. I wouldn't say I had a very good life here, because I didn't really. But it obviously gave me the opportunities that some people living in a less well-off country didn't have, I guess. So I can only be grateful for that. I can only be grateful for the bad shit that happened to me, the bad experiences that happened to me, because it's turned the boy into a man. And that's what it's about. It's about evolving into your best self and bringing yourself closer to God. So with that, I will leave this vlog. Thanks for listening. I hope the wind hasn't interrupted it too much. Subscribe if you haven't, and take care.